Hello, everyone. Welcome to Read, Return, Repeat, Season 6. I'm your host, co-host, inspiration librarian, Daniel Pewewardy.
And I am Jenny Durham, the enrichment librarian.
So, new season, new format. I guess kind of tell me what's the... Jenny's been on the show before, and so we're going back to two hosts, I think. We'll see. We don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
But we're also going to do... Go ahead and tell us how we're doing the show.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit more conversational than we've done in the past. We may throw in some episodes here and there where we interview authors, but we'll kind of go off of a theme.
Yeah, so every episode we're trying to do something more conversational, and having authors is great, but it was kind of becoming a big task, kind of like book authors. And so we thought we don't need to get into the details of why we're doing this, but I will say that the one thing that we are trying to just have a conversation. We'll have more other librarians on the show, and every episode's going to have a theme. So so it's a little loose. This is season 6 is we're just kind of taking it easy and seeing how it goes. So, and I guess we'll just start.
And you might learn some interesting stuff, so it's more of a deep dive into things. But we were going to do a deep dive for this episode into libraries because it is the 150th anniversary of the Wichita Public Library this year.
Yeah, so, I guess we can talk about that real quick. So tell us, you've done some research, so, I guess for people that don't know, do you have how did libraries start in America?
Yeah, this is actually really interesting history, and those of us that went to library school might know some of this, but your average person isn't going to know some of this stuff that we, take for granted. So libraries... Public libraries in the United States, we can actually thank Benjamin Franklin. Initially, before the Revolutionary War, they were actually more subscription-based, which meant that they were not technically free and public or taxed like they are today. They were
libraries were subscription-based.
Kind of, yeah. They were pretty much if anybody is familiar with, in Europe, they had these literary salons, which it wasn't like salon today. It was very much like a space where wealthy men usually would meet together to talk about, philosophy or religion or science.
So, book clubs for, the Founding Fathers.
Pretty much, yeah. And they paid a monthly fee, and they were basically investing, and that money went towards basically purchasing books that they were sharing. And so Benjamin Franklin started the first one of these types of libraries, which he called the...
Because if you didn't know, Benjamin Franklin was a freak and went to France a lot. I have to keep this, PG. You said Ben Franklin. We opened up a whole rabbit hole. I don't know. That guy was different. He was built different, and he helped make America. So shout out to Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
Ben Franklin, as I like to call him, because that boy.
Mm-hmm. So he opened his subscription library. He called it the Library Company. And
he would.
Yeah. And basically... Later on, I think this was after the Revolutionary War, he wanted to make these books available to more than just, paying members or whatnot.
He envisioned as a way to just for the general public, and then still probably what he wanted it was for, all was white men, Christian men that own property. Yes.
Pretty much. What was actually interesting is that like this little library company, we're kind of going still with his little subscription, is that people that weren't members could technically borrow the books, but they had to put down collateral.
Oh.
So it was like,
Yeah.
like when you put like, hey, you can I mean, it wouldn't have been a car, obviously, but like, yeah, here's, you can take my house if I don't return my books.
Like, here's my mule.
Yeah. So he did allow that, but later on, he actually donated a lot of these book collections to help form one of the first, like, libraries that was freely available. And it was ironically a town in Massachusetts that's named after him. So Franklin, Massachusetts got to get a library because
I mean, that's
he
just like,
donated
yeah,
his
that's like
collection.
nepotism, basically.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
But really, like, the first large public library that's acknowledged as far as being, like, tax supported and free for the public to use was the Boston Public Library. Even though technically there were some smaller ones in Massachusetts that started before, but the one that's, like, acknowledged is the Boston Public Library. Is like the first official public library, and their collection began with 16,000 volumes.
Oh, that's insane. I've been to Boston a couple of times. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know where that building is, though.
I don't think I've ever been to, I've been to Boston twice, and I've never been to the Boston Library.
If you go to Boston and you see, like, a building that looks like our old library, like the one on Main Street, that is not the library. That is City Hall. And it looks just like, it's like a gigantic version of that building. It's really weird. Anyway, we're talking about Boston.
Yeah, and it was in 1854 was when it officially opened. One thing a lot of people don't realize, too, is that early libraries was a male-dominated profession.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it didn't actually become a more women-focused until after the 1900s.
That makes sense, right? I mean, like, men probably, literacy rates among women at that time were probably lower than they were.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess this men had other things to do than read books.
Yeah, and what's interesting
men
is...
of the time.
Yeah, even at the time, too, the men that were going in to work as librarians, it was like a second career, or it wasn't really like
they're like moonlighting as a librarian.
Yeah, they're like, okay, I kind of want to just do this now, so I'm going to go and become a librarian. And they didn't really have official schools yet at that point. I think when they brought in the training, it became more of like a vocational thing, which I found very interesting because the library schools, the training was very short. And it was done, like, in the actual library buildings. So, like, today, to actually be a trained librarian, like, to have that official credential in the United States, you have to have a master's degree. We can go into later, like, why that is.
Yeah, so, like, we can talk about that later, because I have some thoughts.
That's a whole thing.
That's a whole thing on who and who isn't a librarian.
I don't know how many times, like, you have to have a master's degree to be a librarian? Why? Yeah, we can go into that later. But initially, it was, like, really short training and done, like, on the job, so very much like a vocational type thing. So at that point, that was when you started seeing more women going into that field because the training was short. And often if, like, they couldn't really get into teaching or they didn't like it, it was another avenue. And it was one of the
So it's kind of like a CNA position now. Like, because the training, like librarians were basically, like, with the first women librarians were basically like, because if you think about it, like, CNAs used to be big burly dudes called orderlies, you know?
Yeah.
Like, when they're, like, the big dudes, like, in the 1950s. And up until, like, the classic Fat Boys movie, Disorderlies, but then as those men exited that field, you know, with, like, the nursing assistant positions became kind of like female dominated. which I don't know why I went on that. I just
Yeah, no, that's really interesting though, because even like the language around it, and I think some of the stereotypes around it too, really probably reflect some of the assumptions made about librarians today that still kind of carry on. And so I just found that really interesting. One thing that is kind of neat to look at, though, is that you had, as librarianship as a career got really popular in the Northeast, those jobs got really hard to find. So a lot of these women started heading west or to these like rural communities in the South. And if you've heard about those like horsepack librarians in the 1930s, that was like started by women, and they were not like your stereotypical women of the time. They were kind of like independent, roguish women.
So, like, instead of carpetbaggers, they were like book baggers.
Yeah,
they were going to
pretty
places and be
much.
like, "We're gonna have y'all gonna get literate today."
Yeah, so they like built up these libraries in these small communities, and they were like the ones that really kind of started like these partnerships with the schools. Like, you know, today you have a lot of libraries that have children's departments that are closely aligned with local area schools to like develop literacy programs.
I didn't know any of this. So yeah.
Which is fascinating, and I didn't even know that part. I thought that was really interesting. And probably the big thing I want to bring up is that there's somebody else that's responsible for a lot of libraries just existing.
No. I know who you're gonna mention. He's canceled.
Yes, he's a little like
Melvin.
This is. Oh no, we're not even talking about him.
Oh, we're not talking about Melvin Dewey.
We could.
Oh my God.
Melvil Dewey.
Whatever.
Originator of the Dewey Decimal System.
Okay, who's this other problem?
I was actually going to talk about Andrew Carnegie.
Oh.
Who is also kind
different.
of. I have weird feelings because it's the whole Gilded Age, like.
He's just like Yeah, he was a robber baron.
But it's not all people aren't all bad or good. So I have mixed feelings about him. However, the reason why we have so many libraries in the United States was because of Andrew Carnegie. He funded the building of 2,509 Carnegie libraries worldwide between 1883 and 1929. And then of those, 1,795 were in the United States. 1,687 of those were public libraries, and 108 of them were academic. And he also did others from around the world. I didn't even know that he also built libraries outside the United States.
And like, I guess like because of that, we now are in this America where there's like a library in every community, and it kind of helps create this like myth that like with access to information, you can basically pull yourself up by it becomes like at this moment, I guess we can say like libraries become a part of like American ideals and this idea that you can have nothing and work your way up in America and have the American dream. And so like I think that's important to like talk about is like once we get to the Carnegie era and their like libraries are just popping up all over the country, it's no longer just like this service that exists. It becomes, because of the word public library, it becomes a part of just like the American dream, or it's one of the like public schools, public library components that help build this idea of like determinism and all that stuff.
And I think that's a big reason why, people have this romanticism around public libraries in the United States. They're like such a ubiquitous part of American culture, even for people that maybe haven't been to the library since they were a kid. It's still something that I think people that grew up in the States has a memory from when they were a child going to the library. Whether or not that's a positive memory, it's still a visceral memory. And
so what did Andrew Carnegie do to get his money? I forgot. He's the railroad guy, right? Or was he like...
I think I just knew, or was he an oil baron?
He might have been an oil guy because, like all the robber barons, there's like Carnegie, and then there's like Guggenheim. I don't know. I can't remember.
J.P. Morgan was another one.
Yeah.
I don't remember all of them, and I don't even remember. He might have been Banks or.
Fun fact: Wichita got a Carnegie Library in 1912.
Yeah, it was the old old library. It was the one that is across the street from the main street.
Yeah.
The old central branch. I think it still says a bank on it.
It's like Fidelity. It's one of the banks downtown. I don't know exactly. I can't remember.
Yeah. That was where it was housed until like 1967. I don't remember when that one opened though.
Which one?
The old one that was a Carnegie Library.
1912.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have some info here. Let's see. So, like, Wichita libraries were established in 1876 with funds raised by local business persons. This is from a Wichita library website. It's from our website from back in the day because I had to use the Wayback Machine. So the library, the Wichita Public Library, was started in 1876, 150 years ago, obviously, and Wichita was only 12 years old at the time, and so we're probably going to do an episode where we'll, like, dive deep into that. I just kind of wanted to throw some facts at, the Carnegie Library was built in 1912 until 50 years later when they built the Central Branch Library in 1962, I believe. Anyway. And I didn't know this. The Friends of the Library group originally organized in 1938.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize they were around.
I didn't know they were around that long either. So that's cool. Shout out to Friends of the Library. They just, if you haven't been to the Friends of the Library bookstore, great place. I find good stuff all the time.
Now they just put like that nice window decal.
Oh yeah, it makes it feel more like a bookstore, just like the window decal. Yeah. And and this show is not sponsored by the Friends of the Library, but kind of.
Well, kind of, because they
friends with us.
they do actually, like, some of the sales from their book. Like from their book sales and the stuff that they sell in the store. And they actually sell like donated stuff online too. I didn't realize that.
Hey, let us know. Yeah. This is something we could probably do. If you want a read, return, repeat shirt, if that's something if you're a listener of this show and you want a read, return, repeat show, because they sell library merch at the Friends.
Yeah.
Message me, dpewewardy at wichita.gov, or just contact us through the library website. However you would like to contact us, just let us know. Let us know. Facebook message us. Let us know you'd like a read, return, repeat shirt. We can see if there's anyone that, if we get a couple of y'all, we can
hook you up.
We could definitely possibly maybe start getting those shirts at the bookstore to get.
I think that would be fun. They're really cool.
I don't think I'm talking like outside of my like abilities to do that. So we'll see.
we can look into it.
Yeah, we'll definitely. Yeah, I still have my podcast shirt. It is the green where they went with
that green one.
Yeah, so definitely not gonna do the green again. I just don't like green shirts. Yeah,
we can redesign it.
That would be
cool. Or maybe make more stickers.
I
thought it was neat. Like, we have a Carnegie Library here, and so it's really kind of shows like how, a lot of these big places, maybe they don't exist as a Carnegie Library anymore, but that's what got it started. And so he's called the patron saint of libraries. Apparently.
That's
which,
yeah, I mean,
but I figured
better him than Melvil Dewey.
Yeah, we can go into. Let's go into.
Do
Melvil
we just need to
Dewey.
do a whole episode on Melvil Dewey?
I don't know if I want to talk about him for an hour.
Let's talk about Melvil Dewey. Tell me about.
Long story short, we should explain why maybe a lot of librarians today, when you bring up Melvil Dewey were like...
Just go read his controversy page on Wikipedia. Give us some of the... I don't remember any of them. I just know he was sexist and racist.
The
and
big thing is that how he actually... Because he's the one that created...
Good with numbers, though. Great with numbers.
He's the one that decided to categorize the Dewey Decimal numbers because each of just a quick... Those weird numbers on the nonfiction books, they pertain to a subject area. It is to make librarians be able to help people find materials. So they're categorized by topic. Like, so a general subject area, like, for example, like psychology is like 150 or something.
Yeah. And so, it's like the zeros is like information. Ones is like intellectual pursuits. Mm-hmm. 3 is like biological sciences. And like, I don't know. You know what? Here's the thing. They don't teach you that in library school.
I kind of learned it, but like, I'm not going to know like an exact Dewey Decimal number. I will have a general idea, but that's from working in a library.
I didn't take cataloging, so I didn't have to learn it.
You know what I had to learn was...
I didn't learn
Dublin core.
Yeah, so but that's the thing is they spend like a week on they do like in the library classes that did talk about cataloging, they tell you about all the different kinds of cataloging from like Dublin core to Dewey to Library of Congress.
Yeah.
I forget there's another system that was like similar to Library of Congress.
Yeah, the two big classification systems is Dewey Decimal, which is the ones that you're going to see in a public library usually, and then you have Library of Congress, which is much more expansive.
LOC.
Yeah, those are generally university libraries because they get more specific than the Dewey does. But
I think the only thing we use Library of Congress for is our shrinking CD collection.
Yeah.
So we're yeeting LOC out of this building. It's Dewey territory, baby.
Yeah, and some libraries are going to like a bookstore model, which I mean, for a bookstore, yes. It sounds like a nightmare for those that are trying to help people find books.
Wait, how are they just not using cataloging at all?
Yeah, they
just put them in the section.
They do them in like sections, like a bookstore would. And I mean, I guess if you're a small collection, it could maybe work, but
that's odd.
I don't think I could get behind that. That sounds awful.
Best of luck to all those rural librarians that are mixing it up with their collections. Yeah. Shout out to Sickles, South Central Kansas Library Systems.
Yeah.
That's I got a job. I was an intern at Sickles for a while, and so we can talk. Maybe we should have. That would be actually interesting. We might get Paul Hawkins on the show.
Oh, so, he's cool.
Yeah, he can talk about how libraries in Kansas work and how basically all the smaller libraries have like a library support system that's regional, and there's like 5 or 6 regions in the state. Anyway, time for another episode.
Yeah, because I was going to say that can get really confusing because I think for like an average person that just goes to a library but doesn't know the back end, that there's like a little bit of a bureaucracy in that respect where we have a regional and then it goes up to the state, which is why I think back earlier last year when there was the whole thing with the IMLS funding going away, which IMLS stands for the Institute of Museum and Library Services. So it's basically the federal funding for libraries, but it goes to states, and then states trickle down to different programs that public libraries get. But I had people coming up to me and they were like, are you guys losing your funding? And then I was having to give them a crash course
that's like
how libraries are funded through the
We can talk about library misconceptions.
Oh, geez. Let's kind of talk about like our own library memories, though. I think I talked about a little bit. Like everybody has this kind of visceral early memory.
You're from Michigan. And you grew up, and so how did what was the Detroit Public Library like?
I This is embarrassing. I've actually never been to the Detroit Public Library because I'm actually from like a northern suburb of Detroit. I've
Okay.
been by it a bunch of times, but it is kind of in an area where if you park your car, it could get like jacked.
So
I mean, it's really, and that's the nice part of Detroit.
Shout out to Detroit. Love RoboCop.
But one thing that's kind of cool.
Robo-librarian would be cool.
Yeah, there's RoboCop. One thing that's kind of cool about the way libraries work in Michigan is that, and I think it's kind of like a consortium type thing. Most of the public libraries there are all part of this big network. So if you have a library card in one town, you can use that same card at any library in the state. So you don't have to get a separate card. So like and the way you interlibrary loan stuff there is different too. Like it was just a lot. It was pretty easy to use my card. So I was in a really small kind of town. And so my library was very small. So I would go to one of the larger suburbs and like use their library and check out books there. But I didn't ever have to worry about getting a card from that larger library.
Oh, that's really cool.
So that I really loved. So I could have technically used my small town library and checked out books from the Detroit Public Library.
That's so cool. Yeah, because that is a thing. There's people that double and triple dip around town. Like, there's, like, because Derby, Andover, Goddard, they're all separate library systems. I know, like, the area libraries have a more, like, I forget, share?
I know there's the Sunflower...
Something,
but that's, I know, for, like, digital stuff.
Yeah, so there's some kind of interchangeability with some of the communities and systems, depending on which one. But, that's cool that you didn't have to get a new card. I guess, like, growing up, I used to go to the downtown library a lot. I think some of my fondest memories is, like, we lived out in Rose Hill, and during the summer, my dad would take my mom to lunch because he worked, like, nights or whatever. And so, like, he would take me with him, and I would just, like, go to lunch with him. And then, like, from, like, 1 till my mom got off, I would just hang out at the library for, like, 4 hours, like, every Friday. And then I love comics and graphic novels, so it's just, like, I would just, like, read comics for 4 hours in the third floor of the old library. And then I ended up getting a job in that same place, this place that meant a lot to me. And I've been, like, really thankful and grateful for that, because having, like, fond childhood memories and then being able to work in this position of this place has been really awesome. Sucks. The one thing that sucks about working at a library, though, is you can't go to them for fun anymore.
It is kind of weird when you work there because it's like, I don't want to go to work on my day off.
I don't even want to go to another library. I know librarians that go to, like, check out other libraries on vacation. I don't even want to do that.
Okay, I actually did that. Back in the fall. I actually have pictures on my phone. I went to the Denver Public Library downtown and that was on my list of things to do. And then I wound up, talking to the other librarians there and being like, yeah, I work at a library in Kansas.
I've been to, like, a couple. I've been to New York Public Libraries because one of my friends works at the Chatham Square Library in Chinatown, which is really cool. And then I went to, like, I was walking in New York, and I, like, went to the New York Public Library because of the Lions or whatever. So I was like, I have to check this out because I'm a big Ghostbusters fan. So, like,
I want to go to the New York Public Library. I haven't been to that one, but I lived in Chicago for 3 years, so I spent a lot of time at their downtown branch is called the Harold Washington Library, and it is 8 floors. It's humongous, and, like, they have, like, airport security just to get into the main part of the library. And this was, like, 15 years ago.
That's hilarious.
So I can't even imagine what it's like today. So they'd have an entire floor that was just social science books. Yeah. And unfortunately, my memory of that is the people that were working at the front desk were so rude. But, like, the librarians there were, like, super nice. And so I was thinking, like, maybe I'm hoping that maybe they treat some of their front end staff a little better, because I usually kind of think that if you get grumpy desk staff, it's because they're being like stressed out from their job. Be nice to the people at the desk, because they have to deal with like the worst.
We used to
people.
Have a bad name for the librarians in our high school. They always called them the library Nazis because they were just like kind of shrewd. I don't like. I get being a librarian. I kind of get where they were coming from, and so like in high school, I remember people called them that, and then like I ended up getting like a teacher's assistant thing my senior year, and I worked in the library. I was like, and I was like, why are they calling these ladies that? And it's like, I think it's just that negative portrayal of libraries that people think we're just all like shushing people and stuff. I do live. I am a loud person, and sometimes I talk. I will say that I've had several complaints over my 13 years here of how loud I am. And
have you ever been shushed by a patron?
Yes.
I have too.
All the time.
It's hilarious because it's like,
yeah.
Whenever I see like in media about the shushing librarians, I laugh because it's maybe a really old stereotype that's not really true anymore.
Yeah, it's like, I think I know like in colleges they always have like the silent room. They like my college, Edmund Lowe and Wichita or Oklahoma State, the Edmund Lowe Library. Every floor had like a level of silence, and like the higher you go up, you have to be completely quiet. This is like research, but it's like academic.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of have that going on here, where it's like first floor is more, you can be a little louder, a little quieter in learning pavilion, but you can still talk on the phone. And then like research pavilion, just like shh.
Yeah.
We're recording a podcast right now.
Yeah, we're in our research pavilion area right now. And there's been even times where I've been in here and I didn't have the door closed, and I had somebody like poking their head and like, can you be a little quieter?
Shout out to John M. Hyde. Is that Dr. John? I don't know.
I don't.
Shout out to Dr. Hyde.
Yeah.
We're in Dr. Hyde's laboratory right now.
Yeah.
That's what we'll call the podcast studio.
Were there any other stereotypes, though, about libraries?
Stereotypes. So let's go ahead. We can talk. We'll take a short break and come back, because I think some of the questions.
Yeah, we did an Ask Me Anything on social media, and we had a few people ask some questions.
So we have some
we're gonna
questions
answer.
here. You submitted your questions, and we'll take a break real quick, and then we'll jump into it. So you're listening to the Read, Return, Repeat. And we're back on Read, Return, Repeat. I'm Daniel.
I'm Jenny.
And we're joined here. So what we're gonna do is answer some of your questions. We reached out via social media, and we have Kyle on the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Kyle's our producer. He's our day one producer.
Yeah, I've been here since the start.
He's been here since the beginning.
He's the one that makes the magic happen.
I did.
Yeah, he is.
There's others too.
Everyone in here is day one podcast. Well, no, because Sarah.
No, Sarah McNeil.
We came in season 2. We're day 2.
Yeah, but I've been here.
You've been here the longest.
Yeah.
And
start. To this day.
Respect to Kyle.
But what are we doing here?
So what we're doing here is we're going to answer some of your questions.
Yeah, we got some questions for people on social media that want to know about us or libraries, kind of the stuff that maybe,
Yeah.
you might not know.
Yeah. And just to
Your burning
explain,
questions.
we posted 2 different posts. Well, the library posted on their Facebook and asked, and we only got 2 replies. But Daniel, Mr. Popular over here, reposted the question and got many replies.
I got like 8. I was shocked, and I was like, well, everyone probably just.
So if you're not following the library on Facebook,
Follow Daniel.
Yeah, follow me on.
you can. Well, he doesn't represent us.
I don't represent. But no, I don't represent. You can follow me. My name's easily. You can Google Daniel Wichita Public Library. I'm sure you'll find the name.
But definitely follow the library's
Yeah.
Facebook, because that's where you get all the updates on this
Yeah,
wonderful
check us-
podcast. Right?
So
So you guys ready to do the first question?
Yeah,
All
let's
right,
go
this
ahead.
first question is what, and I can't read, by the way. That's why I do video. So if I mess up the words, don't sue me. What are the ever-changing roles that a library? Okay, sorry. See, I'm already messing up. With the ever-changing roles of what a librarian is, what do you think it looks like in the future?
And okay, so let's talk about that, because there was another question that was asking us about like if being a librarian feels like
Being
being a social
worker.
worker.
Social worker, yeah.
And so like we kind of talked about this before the break about outdated concepts of librarians and just like our job basically being about books. And I think the fundamental thing that people need to understand is our job is about information. Books were just the only way you could get information for a long time.
Yeah, I think people, especially if they haven't been into the inside a library in, a couple decades, where, I mean, there's still a lot of books there, but
Yeah.
it's more about information. Like when we're trained to become librarians, we're not teaching us how to just find books. We're actually trained to figure out how to help people like communicate to us how to find what they're looking for, because it's that like you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so we have to learn how to kind of decipher that and then find information for it. So it's really learning how to research. Like somebody,
And it's about literacy, and I think literacy is kind of where the social work element comes in, because there's all kinds of literacies. Like there's cultural literacy, there's financial literacy. Like to be a functioning adult in America, you have to have like several like literacy understandings. And so I think when like you never have applied for a job, and you go to like social services, and then you go to like the unemployment people and stuff, and like you like just say like you just didn't have those skills, and you don't know like how to do a resume, you don't know how to do a library. There are services, like I know that like there are some services that help, but a lot of times it's just, especially when as social services for whatever reason seem to have been eroding in our country, the library has been kind of just like filling in the gaps. And I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just because we have computers and we have the resources.
I think a lot of it too is that sometimes those social services exist, but people don't know they exist.
Yes.
Or they don't know where to go. And so a library, the staff there can be somebody that has community knowledge. Like this is where I think like you're going to see more in the future of where libraries going to go, is being that community hub. And part of that is having knowledge about the community, like knowing what services are out there, what businesses are out there, being very familiar with local government. Like there's so many, because all that information that you're able to point people in a direction of like, okay, this is what you need, this is who you need to talk to. So sometimes it's just simply being able to identify like that information source. Yeah. So we're like a middleman kind of.
You guys were basically Google before Google was Google.
Yeah.
And we're a little bit better than
we're
Google.
human.
And
First of all, we're flesh
not
and blood.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, we're like flesh and blood human beings, and we're also not like ad driven.
I mean, you still need to listen to our podcast, though.
Yeah.
We're not trying
Yeah.
to sell you nothing. But,
Yeah, we're not gonna sell you
No.
anything.
But so I just want to let the audience know that I am not a librarian. I did not go to library school. So I respect what you guys do as librarians. I respect your higher education. And one of my fond memories was back when you guys had to answer the phones when people called in, and it literally. I don't know what they were calling for. I think they wanted a phone number for something. But I think the person who answered the phone literally just Googled whatever they were asking for.
Oh yeah.
And that's like a font. That's like if someone asks me what a librarian does, I'm just like they just Google stuff, you know. So,
There was
much
a guy,
more than that.
Sometimes we do. Like, we do.
It's the most efficient way, but
Yeah.
also like Google is a revenue-based system. I actually worked for Google
Oh,
okay.
wow.
in library school, and I was a search engine evaluator. So like, people would search like. You would just make sure the syntax for the search hit what people were looking for. So if someone was looking for like the song "Cake" by Rihanna, if you search Google, I remember getting this one specifically. Someone searched Rihanna "Cake," and like they wanted like a link to the song, but like what showed up was a bunch of like cakes that people made to look like Rihanna.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like actually correcting those kind of things to be more like so that it was like, and so I just always think about, but I think my favorite regular phone patron was a guy that every time a celebrity would die, I would get a call and I'd have to pull up the celebrity's Wikipedia. He'd want to like know how old the person was, and then he would be like. My dad does this a lot since he's older, is like checking to see if he outlives someone.
Oh, wow.
And this guy would call and be like, yeah, how old was like such and such? I can't, Gene Wilder or something. I was like, he's 90 years old or whatever. He's like, oh, well, he's a few years older than me. And I remember when he was younger, he was like, wow, he's way younger than me.
And then he just hung up. Right?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. So you guys would you guys say you're the, what's the word, concierge of the neighborhood?
The concierge, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
That sounds
yeah.
very refined. Very
Because-
concierge.
Yeah.
Information sommeliers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
you guys
like
are. Yeah,
that.
definitely.
We were talking about this yesterday about teachers hating Wikipedia back in the day.
Oh, yeah, because we would, back in like the early 2000s or whatever, Wikipedia was like bad.
Yeah.
And
You're not supposed to use it. So like, my experience was like teachers would be like bringing their kids for research, and they would try to get me to back them on their Wikipedia. I was like, no, you have to know how to use it.
It's not bad. I always tell people that try to push back on the Wikipedia as bad is I'm like, it is a good starting point for research. And their individual articles, you need to go usually to the bottom.
Yeah,
where
go
they
to the
have
bottom
all
of the page.
Sources.
Yeah.
It's basically a bibliography. And that kind of goes for like any kind of book, even if you're reading a nonfiction book. If it doesn't have an extensive bibliography, I would question how the quality of the information. So Wikipedia is the same way. It's a good starting point.
See, you're learning something on the podcast. Even in a podcast, they're acting like librarians. I love it.
And so like, and I would also like, very like, the Chat GPT is like now becoming kind of the Wikipedia problem.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is like, have you asked? Sometimes I've asked ChatGPT to send me sources for whatever it told me, and it's like, oh, I guess I made that up.
Oh, see. Yeah. So to answer the question, you guys are always going to have books. You guys are always going to be the information station.
That's typically empirical knowledge tends to go
in the
into
future,
book form.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's how we access knowledge and information.
And you don't see AI taking over.
And
your
something that we get a lot is this was very heavy when I was in library school, is that whole like, well, why do you need libraries when you have Google or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard why you need libraries when you have ChatGPT.
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone say
but
that.
it's
Not
like,
yet.
I think the big thing is that you still need people to help be able to like evaluate that information. And that is something that does take some training. I've been teaching programs or doing presentations on media literacy, and a lot of that is being able to evaluate information that you find online. So I think that's part of it, but I think another part of it is being that like community connector, like connecting people to the information they need or the resources they need. So it might be a book, but it could also be a movie or music, because we have that stuff too.
Exactly.
And
or just even like learning, being able to develop a hobby, because we have 3D printing classes. People can learn to improve their skills. They can get help with building a resume.
They can record a podcast.
Yes.
Exactly. So we're so much more than books.
So we're like a community.
Now on to the next question. What's your favorite thing about being a librarian? What inspired you to become one?
You want to go? What's your favorite thing?
My favorite thing is that it gives me a chance to be creative, and I get to incorporate my hobbies and my useless knowledge into my job. Full disclosure here, I have ADHD, so being neurodivergent, something that is overly routine, can be very challenging and difficult to stay interested and engaged. But because everything is, there's always programs to plan, or people coming in with really interesting questions that I'm like, ooh, yeah, I know all about that because I went down a rabbit hole 2 years ago on this topic. So I have a lot of knowledge of it. So I really love that aspect, but that's not what inspired me to become a librarian.
I think, I kind of had a thing like that when I decided to go to library school, because I was I didn't know what to do after my undergrad in film criticism, and I was like, well, I organized my DVDs really well.
That's half the battle here. Organization.
I literally went to library school because of the Great Recession of 2008.
Yeah.
Because there was somebody in my knitting group when I lived in Chicago that got into the University of Illinois library school, which is a really well-known library school, and he kept talking about it. And so I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, I was looking to pivot and do something different. So it really was I had lost a few jobs in a year and a half period, and I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to keep losing jobs, I might as well just go and learn something new and shift my career. So I took an 8-year break between getting my bachelor's and getting my master's, and that was when there was a big shift into more online schools. So I did my master's completely online.
So in 2008, I was a senior in college, and I had a film degree, and I didn't know what I was gonna do next. And my parents were very strict. They're like, "You're getting your master's degree." They beat that in my head the whole time, my whole childhood. My brother was getting an MBA, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I pulled up a copy of U.S. News and World Report, and it's the number one profession to get into right now for recent grads is library science. And I was I thought about being a lawyer, and I took a pre-LSAT, and I didn't do that good. And then I was So it was lawyer, and then I was or a librarian. So that was the two things I was looking at doing. And I get into library school, the Great Recession happens, and then the year I graduate, or after the year, because they kept saying it was going to be a graying industry, because all the librarians were older and they needed new blood in there. And then the recession hit, and there's all this austerity, and they basically nationwide got rid of school librarians. So all the school librarians were filling in the gaps in public libraries and stuff. And I think it was 2011 or 2012. There was an article. I think it was U.S. News and World Report that was worst profession to get into. It was librarian, and it's just I just got my master's degree, and the reason I think I always tell this when people ask me what I like about being a librarian is I'm in a neighbor. I feel I like coming to my job every day and seeing members of my community and being part of a community. I kind of you see Spider-Man movies, and Spider-Man swings around and he knows all the store owners and stuff, and it's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like, I like being the friendly neighborhood librarian. It's cool being a part of a community like that. And it's like, we see the same regulars a lot every day, and people, you'll go grocery shopping and people know you as a librarian, you say hi to their kids or whatever. And like, I like being a part of my civic community and serving a very useful and, much needed function in that. So
I love when you get to see how things have improved too because of somebody using the library, or even just if you like help somebody. There was a woman that, and I don't want to go too far into this because it was kind of personal, but this woman had a personal issue with her daughter, and like some months later, and I was just there to listen. I didn't even necessarily like help her with anything, but months later, she comes back and like just tells me the good news of how the situation had resolved itself, and just something like that she just remembered that I was there to just listen to this like awful experience that she had gone through. And I think those personal stories.
Much more than books.
Yeah.
Therapists, helpers, friendly neighborhood librarians.
It's a fun. This has been a fun episode. I think we got time for like one more question.
Sure.
I have to go to lunch.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know how to convey that.
Definitely put his hunger over the podcast. No, I get it.
We're good.
All right, let's find a good one.
Okay.
What aspect of a library patron makes up your favorite patron? How can we, the average library goer, make your job easier? And this is for everyone listening, everyone watching. How can us, the normal people who go to the libraries, make your job easier?
I think the number one thing we always tell people is like, don't put the book back on the shelf. We'll shelve it. We got it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, people are people.
I think it would kind of go with how you would treat anyone in a customer service
setting.
position, like
with respect, and
recognize that we're human and that we're trying our best. I would also say, like, also just be kind, because something else that I don't like is when people make comments that are like racist or sexist.
And I'll say this in a broad stroke.
Oh, and don't hit on other library patrons or staff.
Yeah.
Please don't hit on staff.
Don't. I mean, don't do that. But I will say, I'll try to broad stroke this since it's like a hot button issue. But understand the library is for everyone. And that means that we have services for everyone, and our collection reflects all kinds of people from all walks of life, and maybe not necessarily stuff you agree with or stuff that you like feel that a public library should have, but understand that that's just you, and that like just because you don't like something doesn't mean it doesn't belong in a public library. Yeah,
and that kind of goes into also making assumptions that may not necessarily be true. Like if there's certain books that we haven't purchased, that we don't have or you don't see on our shelves, like I have had people
accuse... That's the flip of it. People think we're not purchasing things because...
For like a political
reason, it's like...
viewpoint. And it might simply be that for whatever reason, it hasn't crossed our selectors that order our materials. We have a limited budget. If it's not something that somebody has asked for or it doesn't pop up on their radar, it doesn't mean we won't order it, but I've had people outright think that we're not ordering a specific type of book because of its point of view, and having to explain like, no, we don't do that.
Also, be kind to the people that do interlibrary loans and order books and stuff. I know that sometimes like
it's frustrating.
There's frustrating. Like, I've seen Reddit. I've seen what you guys say on Reddit about the library ordering books. I'm not calling anybody out, but, like, I see it. And it's like, this is a publicly funded entity, and just understand that we're doing our best.
Yeah. That's a good way to summarize and sum up this episode. And I just want to say happy 150th birthday
Yeah.
to the library.
150 years.
Right?
Yeah.
Before we close out, do we want to share what we're reading?
Yeah,
or-
we can't
or
end
checking
a
it?
read,
Yeah,
return, repeat without a book
Yeah.
recommendation. So
Let's
go
see.
ahead.
You go first. What are you reading?
This is a really odd book, so I don't know if this is going to be everybody's cup of tea, because I read all across the spectrum of books. But I found it on the shelf like a month or so ago, and I was like, okay, I got to read this. It's called Sudden Death by Alvaro Enrique with a G. I'm not sure if this is a translated novel or not, or if this was originally written in English. I actually think it was translated from Spanish.
Seeing that book reminds me, I need to finish a Sylvia Moreno Garcia book.
Oh.
I totally forgot I didn't finish it yet.
But basically, this book uses this sudden death it gets the term from a tennis term, and I played tennis in high school, so that was part of it too. But it's basically uses this imaginary tennis match in the 17th century between the artist Caravaggio and a famous poet, Francisco de Quevedo. And they're playing with a tennis ball that's made from the hair of Anne Boleyn.
That's insane.
And it's used as an allegory for, like, empires and, like, colonialism and stuff. And so
that's interesting.
it's really very, like...
So basically, this tennis match never took place.
No, not really. It's just
Okay.
using it as a storytelling device. And I've started reading it, and it's really interesting. It is very much like probably something I'll have to read a couple of times
Yeah.
to really get it. It's very much one of those deeper books. But I love books with unhinged plots. And that one's unhinged.
Oh, that sounds very interesting. That sounds like, I like things that kind of get into this, like, and like, especially like metaphor and stuff. Very like Alice in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll kind of thing, where it's like hey, this is completely wild, but it actually means this or whatever.
Yeah, and there's other, like, historical figures that are watching the tennis match, like Galileo and stuff. And they don't actually name him that. Like, they call him, like, the mathematician or something.
Okay.
It's just, it's very interesting. Like, if it's definitely those books that make you think.
That's cool. So,
What are you reading?
And what's it called? It's Sudden Death?
Sudden Death by Alvaro Enrique.
Enrique. So I've been reading Absolute Batman, which is a retelling, and this is from number 15. This is like a cover of this, like the Joker. And basically, Absolute Batman takes place in this like universe. They created, like DC created like 2 years ago, this new universe where like things are harder for the superheroes. So like, and things are different. So like in this one, Batman's not rich, and he was raised by a single mother in like in like inner city Gotham, and like grew up in working class, and basically at some point the bad guy Darkseid got to his own little world, and all the absolute superheroes are like versions of their like counterparts. Like Absolute Wonder Woman, like in like the Amazonians are all dead, and she was raised in hell by Circe. Is kind of like, so that's just like to give you an idea. Like it's not easy life, but also like all the bad guys are like in Absolute Batman's really cool because like all the bad guys, and it's by Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta, which I bring up for my next recommendation. But like it's very like anime style. It kind of reminds me of Akira, and so like Bane is huge. The Joker's a giant monster. Mr. Freeze is like a giant monster, and like Batman's also huge, and it's very cool art, very cool story, very cool retelling. But I was like, where have I seen this art before? And like when I first started working at the library, I started this graphic novel. There was like 10 volumes called East of West by Jonathan Hickman.
Oh, yeah.
And Nick Dragotta.
I feel like
And
I've read that.
And yeah, it's it's an alternate history book. I actually finally finished it. This is volume 10. It took me 10 years to finish it. It's only like 50 issues, but it's a So basically, it's an alternate history where after the Civil War, the country was split into 5 different nations. There was like the Union, the Republic of Texas, the Confederacy, the Kingdom of New Orleans. There was the Nation, which was the Native Americans, and then there was like China. Basically, it was like People's Republic of California. And so it's this weird futuristic cyberpunk version of the United States where everyone's fighting a doomsday prophecy. And like the art is just like really cool. Like and it's like the guys, and I just like the art a lot. So the story, Jonathan Hickman is also really like one of those guys that writes these big stories that are like you said, like your guy, he's like very heady.
Yeah.
And it's Manhattan Projects by him is really good too. It's like a retelling of the Manhattan Projects, except everything in it is not what happens. Like Oppenheimer and all that stuff is like, that's a good one if you want to read another alternate history thing. So.
Oh yeah, I love alternate histories.
And I think that ends episode 1.
Yeah.
So this has been a fun episode, Jenny. That was really cool to have you back on the show and to talk about the stuff we talked about, like why we get into libraries and like library history. And thanks for all the facts about librarians. That was really cool.
Oh, I love that. I love looking up random facts and sharing it with people. And I really enjoyed being on this show. I'm looking forward to our future episodes.
Yeah, this season we're kind of taking a different approach. We're going to be more conversational, and we're also going to we might still have some guests out in the upcoming season. We're going to try to get some authors on the show, but definitely we're going to reach out to a lot of the people at the Wichita Public Library and the surrounding community to be on our show as guests and talk about all kinds of stuff, from our love of reading to love of libraries and more. So don't miss Read, Return, Repeat Season 6.
Yes. Yeah, and if you have any ideas for topics you'd like us to go into for future episodes, you can just post something on our social media, the library social media, or we have a chat now on the library's website. Yeah, and shout out to everyone that submitted questions for Ask Us Anything. That was really awesome. Thank you so much. You guys gave us some valuable insight, and it was cool to know what the community had questions about. So thank you. It was awesome. Make sure to check us out on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you like what you heard, like and subscribe. We're on YouTube. Share our videos and tell your friends about it. And thank you for listening to the show for 6 years, and we'll see you soon. Yep. Catch you later. Read, Return, Repeat.